back. Well, next week is a big week as lawmakers are returning to the Capitol to start the 2025 legislative session. There are a number of bills to be considered, and talk about it. We have Speaker of the House, Kyle Hilbert. Thank you so much, sir. It's a brand new year. This is your first year as Speaker, youngest Speaker, so that's exciting. Congratulations. Let's talk about your priorities going into this new session as the new Speaker. What are you focusing on?
Absolutely. Well, going into this session, we're sitting on record surplus as a state because we've been really prudent in how we've handled our budgeting in past years. So as we go into this session, we want to continue to do that and make wise use of taxpayer dollars where we can. We want to look at an administrative rules process where we pass legislation and then unelected agencies then implement the rules. And we want to make sure those rules that are getting passed down to our citizens are used in a fair way that makes sense. Also, with President Trump returning to the White House, that's huge for Oklahoma, where all 77 counties, Trump set a record by winning all 77 of them 3 times now. So we want to work with him and work with our federal delegation to continue to build on this momentum that we have as a state. My favorite statistic is that in Oklahoma, we have more Texans moving to Oklahoma than we have Oklahomans moving to Texas. And if you have any friends from Texas, they love when you tell them that as well. And so we must be doing something right. People are moving to Oklahoma.
Now, speaking of that budget surplus, we know when you have money, that's when people ask for it. We have a number of agencies. I mean, we're a growing state, as you just said. A lot of folks are coming in from Texas. So a lot of these agencies, including schools and some of the others, need more money. The governor has said that he wants to keep budgets flat. How do you kind of mitigate that ground right there?
Yeah, so anybody that's watching right now, they can go onto our House budget portal at okhouse.gov, and they can scroll down and see the budget transparency portal where we list for anybody who wants to see it all of those requests from the executive branch. So the executive branch, those agencies submit their requests for budgets in the fall through the winter, and then the legislature then reviews them. And so we've received over $1 billion increase in spending from those agencies. And so right now the legislature, both the House and Senate, are having our budget review hearings where we're hearing from agency directors why they're requesting those increases, or some are requesting flat budgets or decreases, but making prudent decisions on what's smart. Where should we cut, where should we increase, and what makes sense.
But it's pretty hard to make those decisions, I'm sure.
Well, certainly, especially I've now been in the legislature. I'm in my 9th year, and I've had times where we've had deficits, and I've had times where we have surpluses. You would certainly rather have more money than less, but the challenge when you have a surplus is, everybody wants a piece of it.
All right, let's talk about the people of Oklahoma. We've been, almost feels like years talking about a sales tax, or I should say, eliminating the state income tax. And the sales tax was an achievement last session. What about that income tax? Is that something that we could achieve this year?
Well, certainly. You mentioned the cut of sales tax on groceries in the state of Oklahoma. Last year, we passed the largest tax cut in the history of the state of Oklahoma. Went into effect in August. Very excited about that because, I could lay out the statistics on the cost of eggs and milk and bread, but I don't have to. Every Oklahoman has felt that. But now, thanks to the legislation that we passed last year, went into effect in August, every Oklahoman's grocery bills are 4.5% cheaper than they otherwise would have been because of eliminating the state sales tax portion on groceries. So now this will be the first full fiscal year. Our fiscal year is July 1 to June 30. This will be the first time doing that. We'll continue to monitor the economy and see what makes sense in terms of conversations about future tax cuts. Obviously, at the Oklahoma House and Senate, there's a lot of tax cut conversations that we have every year, but we want to take the revenue projections that are going to come in according to the Board of Equalization and analyze that to see what makes sense for Oklahoma.
I want to talk about immigration right now. There is a protest going on in front of the Department of Education. It's a hot button issue. Lots of things are happening. We have 3,200 bills being proposed. When it comes to immigration, what is something that, in terms of legislation, that you want to focus on?
Yeah, well, President Trump, of course, made this a central part of his campaign, as he has 3 times now. And he's right on that issue. Every state is a border state now, and we're seeing the impact of illegal immigration throughout the United States of America. And so we're going to do what we can to work with the federal delegation on that. You saw during the Biden administration where the Oklahoma legislature passed what many call a Texas-style illegal immigration bill. I know that's currently being litigated in the courts, but the state of Oklahoma and Texas and other states had to take those actions because we weren't getting any help from the White House. And truly, if we want to make an impact on illegal immigration and closing down the border, it's going to take help from the White House. And so just grateful to have President Trump back so we can continue working on this.
Is there any bill in particular that you're focusing on right now when it comes to that?
Well, there are several bills that have been filed, actually 3,200 or so bills that have been filed, and so those will continue to go through the process. We have our committee work really ramps up beginning next week. The first committee hearings happen Tuesday and Wednesday of next week. And then over the course of the next 4 months, we'll see what makes its way through the process.
All right, we'll stay tuned.
Yeah.
Speaker of the House, thank you so much, sir. Please come back, all right, because we need
course.
more updates. I want to get an update from you at least once a week because a lot of stuff happens
All right,
on
we'll
the
hold you
Capitol,
to
that's
that.
for sure. All right, great. All right, well, let's take a live look outside right now, folks. Again,